the Zen Center, and I'm here with the abbot of this center, and his name is Tom, and that's all I know about it so far.
Yeah.
So, Tom, what's Zen? Is it Buddhism, or is it different, or is it?
Yeah, Zen is just a meditation practice. That's it. It's a matter of sitting, being quiet, being still, and looking inside.
So nothing to do with Buddha?
Well, the Buddha was the original teacher of meditation. But it is a practice. It's not a study. It's not a scripture study place. It's not a religion, so to speak. It's not a belief system. It's a practice. We don't require anyone to believe anything.
But is there a belief that if you do this, something happens? Like you become a better person?
There may be faith that if you do this, something will happen. And basically, if you do this long enough, then what happens is it's like when you have a glass of water that you just poured from the sink and there's all these bubbles in it, and if you put it down, it looks all cloudy, and then you leave it there for a while still, and it becomes clear. So with human beings, if you sit them on a cushion long enough and they're quiet and they look inside, they become clear as well.
The wisdom comes to them?
Wisdom is a natural thing for human beings.
Do we still need to go to universities for getting the wisdom, or?
You need to go to universities to learn how to make a living.
Okay.
Right? That's what universities...
I never went to one, so I don't know.
Oh, that's what universities teach, So what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What they're talking about is what do you want to do to make a living? What universities do is they teach you how to arrange things outside of yourself so that they're to your liking, supposedly. How to get a good job and how to, be successful, that sort of thing. So that's fine, but that's outside. That's arranging things outside of you. Zen is about arranging things inside of you, looking inside and seeing what's there.
So if I was to categorize Zen as part of Buddhism or a branch of Buddhism, would that be correct?
Yes.
So is Buddhism a religion?
It's a sort of religion light, I think. There was this fellow, Richard Dawkins, who's a British fellow, a professor. He wrote this book called The God Delusion. And he talked about religion, talked about belief, and he exempted Buddhism and Hinduism from it. He said, okay, this book applies to everybody but Buddhists and Hindus, because they're not really isms. And when I say isms, there's no requirement when you come to the Cambridge Zen Center that you believe anything in particular.
You have to practice, though.
Yes.
And if I practice every day and meditate every day, what happens to me? I become like a saint?
That would be up to you. That's for you to experience it.
Do I become a calmer person or don't become a calmer person?
I don't know. Maybe you have to try it. See.
So it's an experiential learning.
It's experience, right? Right. But the experience is of you.
Everybody has
get to experience you.
Everybody will have a different experience?
I don't know. I've only experienced me.
What brought you here?
Oh, I was a hippie. Kind of went from there.
So we have to be all hippies to be here first?
No, it's not required.
Not required. All right, so what's an abbot?
An abbot is the head of the Zen Center. It's the head of the monastic community, really.
What's a monastic community?
This is like a lay monastic community, so which means we all share in the work. We all keep the place running. We cook communally. We clean communally. We take care of ourselves as a community, just as monks or nuns do when they live in a monastery. But none of us here are monks or nuns. We're just lay people. So it's a lay monastic community.
Why do we have to wear this robe and this funny little gown thing?
I think they're stylish, don't you think?
I feel like flying in
They're
them.
like the flying nun. This is a monastic's robe. It comes from Korea. And so the Zen master who started this was Korean, and we ended up with Korean robes, just sort of part of our tradition.
Cool. And the stars mean something? Like it's like a badge?
It's a lotus. It's supposed to be a flower.
So it's like after so many hours of meditation you get one of the medals?
No. No, it's a lotus. So there's a great lotus flower, very symbolic, because they're like human beings. They sort of come from the muck and the mud, and then they blossom into these beautiful, bright, clear flowers.
How did all this help you?
Well, I only lived one way, so I only did it this way. I didn't do it another way in this lifetime, so I don't know. But I will tell you that it's not about me. And that's one of the things I learned. It's not about me. That's just a story.
Why are we here in the planet then?
Right, so that's a story too. And so the problem with stories is that they don't really do anybody any good. If I were to line up 20 people, 50 people, and I said to you, Ray, I want you to start with person one and tell them your story. Tell them your life story. Tell them everything about your life. And by the time you got to maybe 10 or 11, even you would be sick of your life story, right? You'd be sick of saying that story over and over and over again, because it's just a story. There's way more interesting things going on. Just the immensity of experiencing what it is like to be a human being is far better than any story you might come up with. That's the real power of Zen, is you get to experience who you really are in its pure form. And it is an immense thing to be born a human being. It is an immense thing to experience this. Not what you think about who you are, but who you really are. And it is possible for humans to do that.
Well, I was going to ask how much time would it take me to find out, but you would answer, it's up to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's up to you.
So can I come in here and stay a couple of nights as guest or a resident?
Sure, yeah, of course.
What's the process?
You call our guest master or email our guest master and say, I'd like to stay for a couple of nights as a guest.
And I get to participate in the communal living?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No problem.